you're ready to pull the trigger, if you're ready to do it, burn your boats.
Let's go! We have these natural disasters. Isn't it kind of crazy that like destruction can create beauty?
I had to become someone who truly believed in myself and my vision.
Sometimes the thing that you want to accomplish in life and in business always doesn't turn out the way you hope that it imagined. Sometimes it comes out through helping other people achieve their thing too.
As long as I pull off my 260 work days, I'm at about 360, 380,000 a year.
Let's go! Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. This is your host, Steve. Today's guest is Joel McPherson from McPherson Makery. How you doing, Joel?
Wonderful, wonderful. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm well, man. Hey, so Joel's a client. He was in our mentorship program, and so he had been just giving me updates along the way on how things have been going, and I was like, you know what, I got to get you on the podcast so you could just tell your story, because you're inspiring, man. You're really inspiring.
I appreciate that.
So I got to tell you so tell everybody about McPherson Makery. Just tell everybody what you do.
So McPherson Makery, long story short, was a company that I started and founded a while back in 2019. Actually, is when I actually started the Makery. It's been a lifetime of building different disciplines that got me here. But long story short is what we do here is we take trees that have been deemed a waste, and we take them into our mill and we turn them into lumber, either for dimensionalized lumber or for people to take and use in their homes for their own custom furniture, or sawdust for making spawn for all of the gardening that we do here. It's been a real development of different disciplines between forest management, working with municipalities and working with nonprofits, and developing how we can better use our green waste and turn it into a green revenue, because we keep seeming to lose a lot. We're in a lumber shortage here, especially in California, yet there's millions of board feet of lumber literally going to the chipper every day down Highway 50 past my house. And it's like, there's got to be better ways to be able to utilize that resource. One of the things we're doing this year, actually, to find new ways to do that, is we're going to the World Forum on Urban Forestry in Washington, D.C. in October.
Awesome, dude. That's incredible. So one of the things that kind of struck me about you was your passion for what you do. Like, you had a vision for your lifestyle, and just talk to me about, like, the way you were right before we started working together. Like, where were you at, like,
Oh man,
state-wise, business-wise?
Stuck.
Yeah.
Stuck is a really good place, really good word to use for it. I had just come out of working for another couple companies. I don't need to mention any names, but
Yeah.
long story short, I really felt like I was not getting a chance to use the resources that I had been given and the resources that are around me, and be able to put them to a good use. I felt like
But
there was
also
just,
your skills and your desire too, right? You just wanted to put that out there, right?
yeah, I just wanted to be able to actually use what it is that I have to be able to give back to the community around me, because there's a lot of need out there,
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so in order to be able to facilitate that, I just kind of kept on struggling at different pathways between gardening and helping people grow their own food, and how we could then use the resources. And the trees around me are falling all over the place. We had PG&E come through and take over 47 trees this year off our property alone, just
Mm-hmm.
because of the power lines on every side. So there was just such a there's such a drive for me to make use of what's around me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I remember, was it Jennifer Alger who introduced us? Is
Yes,
that
it
how we got
was.
introduced? Yeah, yeah. She's a gem.
Isn't she
She's
awesome?
amazing.
Yeah,
She's
dude, she's
amazing.
so great.
She's amazing. I think I've had her on my podcast 3 times. I probably did over the past 5 or 6 years. Um,
Awesome.
and you just really delved in. You had this desire to really repurpose trees, right?
Absolutely. Because I, I don't want to develop too much because I'm just about to restructure my business and I'm about to actually have my first board. So we're going to have 5 board members and we're all going to talk together and work together of how we exactly want our business to move forward. Because as I'm sure you know, there are a million pathways that you can take in this industry and you can get lost in any of them. So I
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
re- I really am working at honing down our skills and really delegating out the things we find miserable and can't stand doing ourselves, and then getting done what we love to do, and then also not only providing a resource and something that gives back to the community utilizing a wasted resource, but
Yeah.
also being able to create new jobs.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Because I have this belief. I know you drink the same Kool-Aid that nature is abundant and provides, and there's more than enough opportunity for people
Absolutely.
to eat off of nature, right? Like people.
Absolutely.
Um, so the, I remember our first phone call. One of the things that kind of struck me was this yearning desire for more, and I remember. I use you as reference all the time. I literally use you as an example
Thanks.
all the time because you personally didn't have the money to invest in working with me and you borrowed the money, right?
I did. I did. I
Yeah.
borrowed the money and
And
I made it back and paid it back in absolute record time.
yeah.
I just, I still like, I just baffle at this stuff we've been able to do and continue to move forward, all due to a great deal to the resources and development that you really helped to structure. And
So
I'm so
tell
grateful for that.
Dude, I'm grateful for you, man. I want to tell you, I want to walk through what was it like when so you borrowed the money from family in order to be part of the program, and then you joined. So what can you walk through what that first phone call? Do you remember that phone call, that very first phone call where
I
we
do.
developed the brand and the mission and the mindset? So like, could you talk through that?
Yeah, absolutely. When we first had our first phone call, really we got a chance to sit down and you recognized something I didn't even see in myself. You know, you saw that I really knew what I was after, but I didn't know how to articulate it into a way that was feasible as a business plan. And so, because everybody else around me just kind of felt like it was jumbled, like you're just crazy. There's too much. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and in a lot of ways, they're right. It's too much,
yeah,
especially for
yeah,
one person.
yeah.
So really, when we got a chance to sit down and you really helped identify exactly what it is that I'm after, I'm a curator of the finest wood plant and wood products available,
Yeah.
and I really helped to find ways to use what was seen as a green waste and turn it into green revenue and something that's a memory in people's homes for generations.
Yeah, yeah, that's so cool. And I remember when we came up with that, and it was almost like I felt like I understood you and the vision, but I also recognize how when you're an entrepreneur and you have these ideas, it's oftentimes the people that are closest to you that are probably not the most supportive because it's new and it's different and it's unknown and potentially it's like a little bit too big of a vision for people to actually grasp.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember when we had sort of recognized and we came up with our strategy, and I saw the look in your eyes, and I remember when I hung up the phone, I said to my wife, uh, and this is like, you helped me realize this. I was like, I was meant to help people like you. I was like, I get so, like, the feeling that you got when you had that click of like, oh, this is the vision for my business and it can come. And I was like, and it happened over the course of an hour long conversation. I was like, I felt very grateful to be there for you. And it made me feel purpose, you know?
Absolutely. And I feel so grateful for that conversation. It really did catalyze what has become something that I could never have dreamed, and it can just continues to go off. Yeah, like you said, don't take your foot off the gas,
Don't take your foot off the gas. So talk to me about the first couple months, because I remember the first couple months it was a little slow going, but you made money that first month, right? Like
Absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
first. What did you focus on? Tell me about like the mind, because I know that the mindset was a big deal. So talk about the mindset that you developed in being able to think bigger for your business.
Absolutely. Really, one of the key things that really kicked off how I started getting more and more calls and more business was I had spent a year ahead of time really getting to know the machinery even before I had joined your program. So I was confident in my use of the machinery and its capabilities and my abilities with it. So that was no longer a question in my mind. All I had to focus on was my customer relations and how I'm actually presenting myself to the public so that they knew what I had to offer and they knew that my service was legitimate and I'm not there to just, bamboozle them or, because a lot of people don't realize the amount of time it takes in this industry for a log to become something, a general rule of thickness, every inch is a year, that's a lot of people don't understand that. And when they're sitting on logs that have been sitting in their yard for the last 20 years on the ground without any anchor seal or anything, and they don't understand why the log isn't good anymore, it's it can be frustrating, but it can also be rewarding when you're able to guide them in the right direction and they come back to you to say, hey, we found that log that's going to be the right, piece for our project, that we didn't have to harvest. And that's always really rewarding when it comes from stuff that has either come down ahead of time or, was fallen by nature.
Yeah, and so I remember the first maybe 8 weeks. I think you had made like I think I remember it was like 6 or 8 grand, and then and then you kind of like, I think you just got busy, and you like something switched in your business, and you just got busy. And
Very. Mhm.
how I know people are doing well is they stop showing up to calls because they got enough information that they start taking action. And what was the massive action that you took in your business?
Two big things happened. One was when you really gave me the great ideas of reaching out to those individual companies that are also, log yards. And that's when I had reached out to Urban Wood Rescue, part of the Sacramento Tree Foundation down in Sacramento, an amazing organization that I've gotten a really fantastic opportunity to work with on multiple occasions and hope to continue to grow that a relationship with them. But I've done over on record now over 300 logs for them that I've milled. It's just,
Incredible.
it's
Incredible.
amazing. Yeah,
Incredible. Yeah,
yeah.
and their purpose is to repurpose those trees, and you're
Mhm.
helping to facilitate that. And so here's this sort of insight. Sometimes, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, well, tell me if you agree with this statement. Sometimes the thing that you want to accomplish in life and in business always doesn't turn out the way you hope that it imagined. Sometimes it comes out through helping other people achieve their thing too.
Absolutely, absolutely. There was I can't remember where I heard it from, but there was a great analogy of, these individuals that paint a picture of what they imagine their dream to be. And then the person comes up to it and tears it up and says, that's not your dream. They say that's your end goal, but what your dream will turn out to be will evolve along the way, because as you move through your
Mm-hmm.
business, life, all of that, things will change and you'll find exactly where you were meant to be, and exactly what calls you. And as long as you keep on driving after that, it just explodes. Another
So you,
thing I
yeah,
wanted
what
to
was it?
share
Yeah, what was the
actually.
second thing? Yeah, what was the second?
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
second.
There was one thing I wanted to share. There was another thing that really catalyzed the takeoff, which was we went to a customer's house, and this gal is really, 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 really great. And we've done a bunch of mill work for her since then. And when we did that job, she paid us at a rate that was well over what we were asking. And when we drove home, the two of us, my girlfriend and I, we had this really long conversation about, it feels really good to be able to work this hard and have somebody justify spending that much money on what we've done, and it really gave us like justification of like, yeah, we do work that hard, and we raised our rates. And ever since, it just can just people continue to call and call and call and call. I'm losing $10,000 a month right now because I can't get to the phone calls. Great problem to have.
That's incredible, man. That's so it's and I think that the biggest part um is you're having fun in the process.
Oh, a blast, a blast. I'm getting to follow my dream. I'm getting to work outside. I get to see people's eyes when they get to see their trees opened up for the first time. And it's like, that's what's inside. And it's like, and it's different every cut. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's such a great, it's such a rewarding experience all the way around.
So at this point, you've built a multi six-figure business, correct?
Yes, right now, as long as I pull off my 260 work days, I'm at about 360, 380,000 a year.
Let's go.
I know.
Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. So my
Let's go.
that's it. That's why I need to get structure. That's why I'm restructuring with my board. I've got some really fantastic people that I've known for a long time, and I trust them with everything, and they're some of the best people in the world to work with, including yourself. And
Wow.
I'm getting a board together so that I can actually structure our plans together and continue to grow this into a 7 and maybe even 8 figure business. Who knows? Sky's the limit. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I mean you're in the right market for it. You know that, right? Like
Absolutely.
you are
Absolutely.
completely in the right and a lot of people aren't blessed to live in a market where people it's attuned to people repurposing trees, but you are
Yes.
completely in the right market for it. So tell me, what are the challenges in growing to that
Oh,
like what have you had to overcome in
a
order to get
lot.
here?
A lot. Um, Everything from balancing family and, being able to justify what you're doing, especially when you're on family space still. We haven't yet been able to acquire commercial locations, so we've been very blessed and very graced to be able to use the 5.5 acres that we have to continue to grow this business and put pallets and pallets of stuff as we continue to unload and change and turn around inventory. Another great thing that we were able to do, we turned $6,000 in inventory here on the property of our own wood, in just the last couple months, and it's been a whole host of challenges of learning how to deal with coding and learning how to deal with the computers. I'm not great with doing the social media stuff. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it is such a benefit, and there's so much feedback from so many people that it's impossible not to use it and not to use it as a positive aspect. Yeah, there's a lot of negative aspects that can be associated with it, but as long as you can ignore that noise and stay
Mhm.
focused on your goal, I really feel like overcoming some of your greatest challenges, whatever they are, I feel like will also be some of your best guidance, because you're going to learn what you don't want to do yourself and what you want to pay
Hmm.
somebody else to do, so that
Yeah,
you don't have to associate with it. You don't have to have that nightmare headache, you know? If
yeah.
that's something that brings that much grief to you,
Don't do it.
don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. What what how, you said before or in a message. So what are you getting a new mill? Did you get a new mill? Because you had it. You started this business from zero with an LT40, right?
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. We had an
What do you
LT40.
still have it?
I still have the LT40, and I'm training right now a second mill hand that's actually going to be running the second mill. So we're going to have two mills by next year. We've got an LT70 on order already and should be
Hmm.
here by middle of next year.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's fantastic.
And and the business is right now it's pure custom cutting.
Right now, it's purely custom cutting. I haven't had a chance. I've got a wood shop and I've got the metal shop to be able to do both the legs and custom work. I don't personally anymore have the time to do it, which is another great problem to have. But I also want to structure things so that I have cutting still being done and money still coming in, but
Yeah.
giving myself time to also do what I enjoy.
Is it custom cutting your own logs or other people's logs or both?
It's both. It's both. Right now, we've got over 200 logs on the property right now between the two sites, because I've got the 5.5 acres here, and then we watch out for 48 acres next door. And that lady has been kind enough to give us all the wood that was taken off of her land as well. So
So
we've just got
she did some forest management and there's some
that was
logs.
that was PG&E that came through. When they came through, they took a bunch of
Oh,
land off of her stuff too, and they just everything got dumped over to us. And then we've had a couple tree companies drop off one or two. I've got like a 5 foot wide crotched red oak that I get to
wow.
slab out. It just, some gorgeous stuff that came down in the last storms that California had. So we have been dealing with a lot of what's on our property, as well as going to other sites. But our biggest
It,
problem and challenge with other sites is not having equipment ourselves yet to be able to move it, which we're
yeah,
working
yeah.
on.
Which you're working on next. Dude, you know it's wild when you think about it? So like you have these natural disasters that happen, whether it's wind, storm, fire, in your area. But then there's all this byproduct from nature that can then be repurposed. Isn't it kind of crazy that like destruction can create beauty?
Oh, it's absolutely a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
It's it really is. Yeah, it's spectacular.
What's the vision? Where do you want to be?
Long story short, I would love to be able to have a multi-million-dollar business that I'm able to facilitate helping people grow in all kinds of ways, from their own food to their own skills to a trade to
Mm,
we've got one of my new business partners is a veteran and was a chief in the Navy as a deep sea diver. And we're
hmm.
really trying to focus on doing something with the vets as well, to be able to guide and bring in something that they're able to do, because
Yeah,
there's so much that they have to give back.
for sure. What have if you were to sum up the experience of working with me and like my program and getting mentored, like how would you sum up the experience working with us?
I would really sum up the experience as, if you're ready to grow yourself and your ideas into something that can actually become what you want, which you might even not know what you want yet, because a lot of times, like when we first talked, I didn't even yet realize fully exactly what I was sitting on. I knew I had a lot of ideas and I knew I had something. I knew it could be something big. I just never imagined how big and I never imagined how quickly we could get it there. So my summation is if you're ready to pull the trigger, if you're ready to do it and you're ready to burn your boats, burn your
Burn your
boats.
boats. Burn your boats. Dang, that's deep. It is. It really is. You got to burn your boats. You got to
You
like,
do.
and you got to commit. You got to commit to a path too, right? Because what I really like about your model is that you're so focused right now. And in a world where people try to do a bunch of different things, they're like, focus. Your focus is on this vision and everything that kind of stems from that, and it's trees and wood. But you're staying in your lane with your equipment and your services, which is super duper powerful. Who did you have to become in order to change?
That's a
Like
really good question. Yeah,
from the person that I remember being on the call where you were talking to the, to the family member that was going to lend you the money, and that sort of that feeling of you felt stuck, you didn't know, to that one of abundance where you start to see more zeros at the end of the ones. And if you're at 400,000, you can see a million. Like you can see a million, right?
absolutely. I can not
Like,
only
isn't it
see a
clear?
million. Oh, yes, it is. Very, very. And really, the answer to that question is I had to become someone who truly believed in myself and my vision 1,000%. I could not waver. I couldn't allow myself to say what I believe in isn't worth it. I had to say to myself, this is it. I know it. I know it within my being, and I know that I can take credit on myself to be able to trust in myself that I can go forward and invest in you, invest in myself, invest in going forward with whatever it is your dream, your passion, your vision is. Focus on it, hone it, and do it.
Yeah, yeah. And what would you say to somebody that's on the fence of working with me?
Get off the fence.
Yeah, yeah,
Time to hit the ground running. You know, it's either get off the fence and go back home, or get off the fence and go across to the other side and see just how far you can go.
yeah, 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 for sure. Um, Thank you, man. Um, Tell me, so this is the part where I give you any extra advice, like things that you need help with. So tell me what's a challenge that you're struggling with that I can help you with.
Some of the biggest challenges I've got right now is uh, both finding insurance because getting my workman's comp is really difficult because I'm not technically a contractor, but I'm also not anything else that they have within their realm to be a subwriter for. So
Hmm.
trying to find an insurance company that'll pick that up and trying to find that is a little becoming challenging. Um,
Okay.
Also working at
That's
trying
easy.
to, yeah,
I
yeah.
would say just talk to Jennifer.
Jennifer,
She's
okay, okay,
get her insurance person and become a customer because you literally have the same
okay,
thing. You know what I
okay.
mean?
Great
Just go
advice.
to her.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give me something else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're also looking at hiring our first employees, but I also don't know if we have yet everything in place to be able to pay all of that workman's comp for employees yet. I haven't gone down deep enough in that rabbit hole to run the numbers of exactly what the state requires for all of that. And I'm
Mhm.
just wondering what your advice is on doing under the table employees to start off with versus actually getting
Yeah.
somebody on the payroll or
So
just
I would
1033.
Yeah, well, yeah, 1099.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
there's all these rules around like what qualifies as an employee versus not. And ideally, if it's like if you're a 1099, you bring your own tools and you don't tell them what to do, and they're not considered an employee. You don't treat them like an employee. You don't tell them what
Okay,
time to come, and they have a job, they do it, and you pay them. And so
okay,
I I I would test out, and depending on, we can talk offline just about like the skills, but the mindset is get used to the idea of paying somebody at least 1 day a week. 1 day a week
okay,
for 8 hours for a particular job. And that
okay,
particular job could be you are cleaning up this area right here.
okay.
And then they come and they do it. Or um they are your second hand at they are running boards off the mill, right? Like
Okay.
they're just stacking and stickering. Um that you
Yeah,
could start simple like
gotcha.
that. Just start simple, but like think
Gotcha.
about things in terms of like if you take a piece of if you take a piece of your business and you chunk it down into 1 day, 2 day, and then think about it like this: like if you're getting paid to cut for a day and it's like $1,000, and you can hire somebody for the day and you pay them 200 bucks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the way that I would think about it.
Okay,
But
absolutely.
the biggest thing, and I just said this to somebody else, is that what you want to do is you want to start hiring people and bringing on a team based off of the same thing that allowed you to attract the clients that you got right now, that same marketing attraction, that's what you want to do for attracting the right hires. So because we get into this phase of where we're marketing, we got enough business, we kind of take our foot off the gas in terms of marketing because you're busy and you step back into it. You actually need to continue it because you could be like, and I would do
Okay.
this too. We're growing, we're hiring. Remember how you made those posts in those groups and you
Right.
posted on your thing and you like
Okay.
I'm looking for uh, a mill coordinator or a mill assistant, or I'm looking for a
Okay.
mill, like, but you have the greenhouse and you have the mill. Like, think of them like, what help do I need in the greenhouse? What mill help
Yes.
do I need? And then write down those things into jobs,
Okay. Okay.
and then literally hire based off of that. You might be able to find somebody that is like
Okay.
that
Okay.
that that can fit all of them, but just hire on a day basis freelancer. Like, don't treat them like an
Okay.
employee, but they have
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have a
yeah, yeah.
task that they need to do. And again, like, you hire based on, we could talk offline just more about, like,
Yeah,
this is for
logistics,
anybody
yeah.
that's listening. You follow your own advice. This is,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know your business. Don't
Yeah,
take this
yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
legal or financial advice. But like, for me, I would look at it, you have to get used to the idea of paying somebody on a regular basis that isn't
Okay.
you,
Okay.
and break those responsibilities out in terms of like what outcomes you need. You're very simple. The reason why you grew so much is because you have a very simple business. Most people don't have the discipline to get to where you're at because they have wandering eyes and short attention spans. You are successful because you have been able to zero in and focus. You have this skill, you know what outcome you want, you're going to offer this service that produces that outcome, period. But most people are like, I need 7 streams of income. And you're like, no, you need one major source of income. And once you get that dialed, I mean, people are trying to start second and third lines of revenue when their first revenue haven't even broken $500,000 or $1 million. See what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so they're busy chasing their tail with other smaller things that are like 1,000 here, 2,000 here. I'm like, no, go all in. Because I have another client, same business model as you,
Awesome.
30K a month.
Awesome. Awesome.
Milling, that's it. Custom
Awesome.
cutting, milling. And so that's the thing. And literally start building like mini training programs, because that same energy that you have for repurposing trees is that same energy for creating more jobs. You have that in
Absolutely.
you. And if you can get into teaching mode, and whether it's like getting somebody on your team to like record videos on how things are done,
Okay.
then your
Okay.
training, then as you have leverage. You have leverage using technology. You have leverage using tools. You have leverage having people. If you did 480 grinding it out yourself, you and your girlfriend, 380 rather, 400, yeah, you can add another 250 easily with a
Absolutely.
solid
Absolutely.
employee. Easily.
Absolutely.
Because you've already set that standard. You've set that standard.
This is awesome.
Is
Thank you
that
so
helpful?
much. It's beyond helpful. Thank you so much. This is
Cool.
really great.
Awesome, man. All right. So I got a little visitor. Um,
Awesome.
tell everybody what's your website.
McPhersonMakery.com.
Awesome.
Please feel free to
Hey,
drop by.
awesome. Dude, thank you so much, man. I look forward to helping you grow some more.
Definitely, man. Look forward to talking to you. We'll reach out to you soon. Thanks again,
All
Steve.
right,
Have a
take
great
care.
day.
All right.